Welcome, everybody, to this session of She Progress run by HCLTech. I'm very happy to welcome Sobha Mulukutla, VP and CIO of Global Products Division at JCI. Hi, Sobha. How are you doing today?
Good, and really excited to be here, to be part of this process and the uh, platform that you guys have created in the ShePowersProgress side of the world.
Sobha, I can maybe say a few words about you, but I think it will be great if you can tell us a little bit about yourself. It's always better to hear directly from the mouth of of the person, right?
So I've always been in the IT side of the world. My total experience is maybe around 28, 29 years so far, everything in IT. I lead in JCI, I lead the IT team, a very talented IT team across our global products organization, which is manufacturing and supply chain across the globe. In addition, I also have the responsibility for data and AI at the enterprise for JCI. It's a new role that I've taken on. So excited to see what we can deliver from a data and AI side of the world, which is ever changing and ever disruptive. Prior to joining JCI, I was in the aerospace and defense leading organization through transformation side of the world, and before that I was consultant. So I think heavy consulting experience and multiple industry experiences. I'm truly excited and honored to be part of the JCI team to try and lead this organization through major transformations that we are going through.
That's wonderful to hear. And, it kind of always helps all of us women in the technology space when we hear from leaders such as yourself. Uh, so, by the way, we are going to structure this conversation is, of course, to understand a little bit about what you do as a part of your day job and as a part of your day job. Second, as what are your strategic imperatives. And thirdly, maybe towards the end of the conversation, we'd also like to know a little bit about you as a person, as well as a little bit about what uh, pointers that you have to share with the rest of the women folk, especially women folk in technology. So if that's kind of fine with you, I would like to start with a very uh, uh, pertinent question, especially given how things have really, really rapidly changed since the world went through this change of pandemic, right? So, in this whole rapidly evolving business landscape, how do you lead the change and at the same time ensure stability? And as a follow up to that, how do you also ensure that while you're managing stability, you're also fostering innovation? I know it sounds like a big convoluted question, but it's extremely important to understand how, as a leader, you're managing this evolving landscape, keeping the lights on, keeping stability, but at the same time fostering innovation.
Yeah, so one of the things, in the organization, any organization, or like just the world in general, is change is always constant. That's the one constant you have, is it's always changing in an ever changing environment, personally, professionally, and all throughout, right? And as you mentioned, um, the world as we know post pandemic is the one thing that we are always going to be looking out for is how prepared are we to manage that change, right? That threw a curveball across the globe, and organizations, institutions, everyone needed to stand up on their feet, think very fast, and adapt, right? And that's the one thing that's constant. So it's no different in an organization. In JCI, we are constantly going through a change, whether it's leadership change, whether it is, initiatives that we were working on that we are not working on anymore, that were put on hold. So for us, we need to start getting comfortable with change, right? And start thinking about, how would you manage if a change is going to come through, whether it's in a leadership change perspective or even professionally on a personal front too. How would you manage it? So for me, when I am leading through a change, I want to make sure my team is well versed and is equipped with the right kind of strategy, or with the right kind of approach on how to manage it, and with the right attitude, right? Because some can be positive change, some is not such a positive change. So how do we making sure my team understands? For me, I like to look at it in terms of three C's, right? Communicate with the team. So making sure they are always kind of aware of what's happening, and potentially what could be coming our way, right? So communicating is a big thing for me, and I try to strive and live by that almost on a daily basis. Collaborating, uh, we tend to work extremely well in silos, right? Now, collaboration is not just within your team, right? It needs to be beyond your team, and with partners, with extended teams, with what we consider as back office teams and what we consider as business teams, right? So that one team collaboration allows us to manage things more effectively, more efficiently, and deliver results more in a timely manner. And then, last but really important one for me is commitment, right? So, how committed are you as a leader to drive that change through your and be there to support your teams? So for me, that's what I've been using, right? Communicate, collaborate, and commit myself to all of the change that we will have to adapt to, and ensuring and empowering my team to be able to make decisions and to be able to run with things. And that's what I feel would make us more successful to adapt.
So this was extremely informative. Communicate, collaborate, and commit. Sobha, have you committed to any specific programs in your organization around innovation?
Yeah, so and I'm sure we will talk about it too, right? In the manufacturing space, there's a lot of disruptive technology that's out there, right? Whether in the OT space, in AI space, there are a couple of things that I always want to kind of foster from a team perspective: ability to do something, fail fast and learn fast, right? That whole agile concept that I think it's everyone's well versed with. Innovation can come through any place. It's not just my immediate team, it could be my team supporting an extended team, kind of a thing. So for me, I want people to understand, my team to understand, and my stakeholders to understand what is the art of possible out there. That doesn't mean everything is applicable to our environment, but what we feel is applicable to our environment, let's do a pilot, let's do a POC, right? Let's see if it's yielding the results that it's yielding. So it's minimal investment, and really smaller effort, but that to me is what will be the game changers. The lines of technology and business are kind of blurring with each other, because technology is becoming the backbone for any organization to really propel forward, right? So for me, that's what we've been focused on, right? Whether it's in the big data side of the world, whether it is in the Google Glass and the augmented reality side of the world, small pilots that we've been doing and engaging with our business stakeholders to kind of gauge their interests, and also for us to understand internally, is this even applicable, right? There's a lot of hype around a lot of things, but what fits within our organization, only our teams can help decide that with our stakeholders.
Right. So Sobha, you spoke about all these emerging technologies. Like we've all been hearing about AI and generative AI, digital twins, uh, augmented reality. Is there any amongst all of this? Is there any of these which hold a specific focus for JCI? And if yes, then could you kind of elaborate as to why do you think one specific area is of more interest to you than something else?
So, as an organization, JCI is also kind of becoming more and more digital, right? And that is with connected chillers, connected controls, connected equipment. So for us, the ability to ensure we understand and we are able to consume the data and make it more meaningful is where AI plays a big role in our industry, in our organization. So for me, the first and foremost, when you think about all the disruptive technologies that have come up, um, while Gen AI has a lot of hype, and it's probably at the peak of its hype too. I feel the game changer for JCI is AI, right? How do we look at our artificial intelligence and the models that we drive, not just from a product's perspective, but also internally for with efficiencies and productivity that we can gain, right? So first and foremost is AI in the manufacturing space, in the digital space, in the service industry, right? We have big install and service side of the world. How do we do that? How do we bring all of that and bring productivity and increase efficiencies of our employees? And that's also something that will help with ease of doing business, both from an employee experience perspective and our partner ecosystem between suppliers, customers perspective too, right? So for me, even though AI has been around for a long time, now is the time for JCI to start bringing that change. We are actively pursuing Gen AI use cases in the service world, in some of the internal employee experience side of the world. But the next big one is the whole OT, IoT kind of convergence, right? As more and more um, connected components become available, whether it's on the factory side of the world or whether it is our connected chillers and connected devices side of the world. How do we pivot and make sure from an OT perspective and an IoT perspective, how do we make more meaningful information out of it, right? We are still going through our transformation. We are from a an ERP standpoint. So digital twin definitely is right right next to the AI side of the world for us. And we are constantly trying to understand how do we enable it, right, in the manufacturing space, in the install base side of the world. How do we enable a digital twin, and how do we work through all of the components, right, to understand how do we make it easier from a service perspective? How do we track? How do we trace components? So digital twin is right there, along with the whole all the other disruptive technologies that are coming up. We are not we'll we're not quite there with augmented reality on our manufacturing floor yet. We are ways ahead in the APAC region, in our China manufacturing sites, that it's used more. But that is where I think we have an opportunity that we have not yet explored, that we will continue to look through.
So, it was very interesting for me to hear when you said, hey, the buzz may be Gen AI, but for me right now, it is AI that is a lot more important. So, coming to your personal leadership skill, how do you manage to avoid that pressure of the buzzwords or the buzz technologies and put your head down and move towards what is the right thing to do for JCI?
So, keeping up with technology and keeping up with all the change, right? We talked about change and everything. So, keeping up with technology and being adaptable is key, right? We all have seen references of Kodaks of the world, and what happens when you don't keep up with technology and the change that's coming. At the same token, not everything uh, has to be part of our organization, right? We need to understand what's core to us and what are the game changers for us. So for me, as I look through things, our industry is more on the industrial side of the world, right? The HVAC and aspects around that, and we are moving towards the digital side of the world. But as we mature through the digital, Gen AI is going to be our game changer. But to move from where we are as a service and a manufacturing industry into a digital industry, we need to help get that more automation, more machine learning, and more meaningful information, right? Make data driven decisions a real thing, and then we get to Gen AI. So we are more in the data and the AI side of the world, where we can really deliver a lot of great results and move the needle in the organization. And then I'm sure we will get to Gen AI. But that's the thought process I go through. Uh, Keeping up with the technology that's out there, but also understanding how is it applicable in our environment.
Thank you. You spoke about this journey that you are taking from moving the needle from one part to the other, from, using technology as solution. Now, on this journey, how do you see, or what role does sustainability and ESG play? Because somewhere, especially when you're in a manufacturing kind of setup, you need to play off the benefits and at the same time make sure that a very important stakeholder, sustainability and climate, gets added into your consideration set.
Yeah, so sustainability is very near and dear to JCI, right? As an organization, we are committed to reducing carbon footprint across the globe, and I realized after joining JCI how much buildings contribute to the carbon and the world, right? So 40% of carbon emissions across the globe comes from buildings, not from transportation mechanisms, not from planes, not from trains or cars, but from buildings, right? And as we've seen the globe go through a transformation in the last probably 15 years, with skyscrapers standing up everywhere and large commercial buildings, data centers being stood up, all of the devices that are there contribute to the emissions. So as we are maturing through our connected journey, the big thing is allowing our customers to understand the emissions that are happening from all of these devices, and also we are moving more and more towards net zero advocacy, right? We have tools that are in place to allow us to measure and try to get to a net zero. So so it is extremely important for me, and I'm very passionate to leave the globe at least similar, if not the same, as to when I came into this world. because if you look through the next 100 years, the predictions and the models, again, by going back to AI, right, the models that are being projected give it a very different view of the world. And it is for one and all to contribute in any small way we can to make the world and leave the world a better place than probably where we came from. And with all the change that's coming, it's extremely important for me to do what I can, right, and what our teams can, what our products can, to make it as neutral as possible, right? And there's more technology that's going to probably come in play that we are not that's not here yet to help drive it and really accelerate that whole reduction in carbon emission.
That's really encouraging to hear, Sobha.